Welcome to American Black Journal. We have Berry Gordy with us today.
We do?
Yes,
Where?
we do.
Okay.
Here in Detroit for the musical and so many other things. I was reading from your autobiography, To Be Real, which you wrote back in 1994, partly to dispel some of the myths about Motown and tell the truths. I'm wondering, with this musical, how accurate is it? What did you put in? What did you leave out? How truthful is it?
Too truthful, for my sake. You know, we just kind of told it. See, first of all, you know, it's like telling. It's very easy, and I tell people that I work with, you know, artists is coming in. When they come in, I tell them, you know, just tell the truth and make it entertaining. That's all you have to do. It's not that complicated. You tell the truth and make it entertaining, but people so busy trying to make things seem like they were, and they get caught up into this doesn't, and an audience sits and looks at that and said, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. They just did this over here and they did this over here. So what we do at Motown is about tell the truth and make it interesting. It's not much more complicated than that. And if the truth of your life is not a good one, then that will show. And if it was a good one, that will show. You had trials and tribulations, that will show. You know, it's just about, and I tell the kids when they come in, you know, with whoever it be, Smokey, Michael, Marvin Gaye, this one, that one, tell your truth. And those guys believed it so much that they became interesting all the time. In fact, me and Marvin would fight all the time because his truth was very narrow. I mean,
And are those types of things in the play? What you know,
yes,
just generally
everything
speaking.
I'm saying, the truth is, it has to be there because it's truth, you know. Even embarrassing moments, I've had a couple, and it happened to be true, and people say, you're not going to put this in there. I said, oh, it's true. You know, if I can make it interesting, I will, but I got to, because people relate to that. They relate to the truth, and that's why I fought so hard to get my music heard by everybody. You know, and the disc jockeys would not play black music on white stations because it wasn't popular. They had a pop station. You were with the R&B and black music and race music.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm not. I'm with people music. I'm you know, it's you know, white people would love my stuff if they could hear it because it's about them too. They have the same feelings I have. We're all the same. You know, and once people understand that, they grow closer together. And that's what Motown was all about. It was about not only the love, which was probably the main thing, but how much we have in common and how the world could be so much better place if people recognize that. So I fought for it when I didn't know. My father was a big, you know, help to me and realized he was a very religious person, and he just be yourself, son. You know, you stick with your dream and do this and do that. And whatever it is, because he didn't know whether I was good. He said, but I've seen you, and God is inside you. And whatever you do, God is watching, and he's inside you. So whatever you do will be right, as long as you know he's watching you.
Right.
Well, that really scared me. That scared me.
That's the Berry Gordy story, though.
Yeah, well, it scared me because, you know, at that time, I was not supposed to be interested in girls because when I started my music, to be honest with you, and this is another honesty thing, all I wanted to do, make some music, make some money, get some girls. That was it. And not only me, everybody in the neighborhood, all my friends in the neighborhood, that's all we wanted to do. But as you develop, you know, you made the music, and, you know, I started realizing that I could take that inspiration that I had.
Right.
So the first thing was, even though I named it last, Get Some Girls, that was my first thought. In our neighborhood, you know, you get some girls. So I wrote a song called Do You Love Me? You broke my heart because I couldn't dance, because I could not dance. You didn't want me around, but I'm back. To let you know.
And is that part of it in the musical?
Yes,
Do You Love
not
Me
the story behind it, because I'm just telling you the motivation behind it. We didn't take the musical and make it whether every motivation was there, but it was there because I wrote this song. I didn't say why I wrote it, but I wrote it because they couldn't dance. And every time I'd go to the dance floor and get a pretty girl to dance with me, no, she'd have a prettier guy, and they would dance. So then I learned to dance. I became a great dancer.
You play this guy on stage.
Then
Good luck to you.
Then I wrote the song.
Good luck to you.
Then I wrote the song, you know, broke my heart because I couldn't dance. You didn't want me around. Now I'm back to let you know I can really shake them down. Now do you love me? And I would do it now, you know, and I would dance and do all that stuff. But I wrote a record like that, became a big hit. And then I got the girls. So I said, oh my goodness, what a joy. That's really great. But then I didn't have any money to take them out. So I wrote a song called Money. Your love will give me such a thrill, but your love don't pay my bill. I need some money. And so anyway, it was Money. And then other songs I would write because I felt that everybody in the world was like I was.
Everyone's relatable. Relatable to the Berry Gordy story.
To life.
To the
That's
Motown
what makes
music.
it relate because I did that. But that was the story behind the story. Now in the play, of course, that's taken to the greatest heights because of this gentleman right here, Chester.
Chester Gregory, you play Berry Gordy on stage, and I'm from Detroit, and I would venture to say nobody knows Motown like Motown knows Motown, right? A lot of these artists actually walked it through and lived in our neighborhoods, and now you're doing this story here for a Detroit audience. Talk to me about what's performance-wise, fresh and new, that even Detroiters can learn and enjoy in this story?
I think one thing that I love about being a part of this musical and working with Mr. Gordy is that he allows us to interpret the characters and the truth of the story in an honest way to us. So it's not people up there doing impersonations or anything like that. We're honoring these legends in a way that is truthful to us as actors. So I think that because there is no place in the world that will look at this under a greater microscope than Detroit.
You got that right.
Right? Right. So it's not just legends. These are like family members, people they grew up with. They know all kinds of backstories and stuff like that. So no one can compete with that. But what they will discover is a way what they will discover is a way for me to portray him in a way that's honest to me and what that means to me. Nobody else can touch that. And so for me to instill that and then spread that, then I think that will be something that will leave people with a fresh perspective on something that they have known about their entire lives.
And when you think Motown, you think soul, you think R&B, you don't necessarily think Broadway. How was that process interpreting soul and R&B and this legendary music for a Broadway style of show?
Well, he wants us to so I never think of it. So I never thought of myself as a Broadway actor or a Broadway style singer. I just like to interpret music and have fun and do it in a way that is honest to how I interpret things as an artist. And so he allows that creative freedom. And so like you're not going to hear like Do You Love Me in a Broadway style version. No, you're going to hear the song.
Okay.
And you're going to hear the way we interpret it and the way he has approved us to explore that in our own way.
Gotcha. Now, Mr. Gordy, I think some people would be intrigued to know that when you started Motown, you kind of employed some of the methods that you learned on the assembly line. You turned this into a hit factory, right? I wonder, though, 180 #1 songs later and all these legendary accomplishments, when you look at today's music industry, you got online, you got digital, you got social media. Could a Motown have happened, or can a Motown happen in today's industry, or was it something that belonged to that time and place?
Well, everything has its time and its place and its world circumstances. And today's music is a product of that fact that so there's social media, there's streaming, there's this, there's that.
Right.
Any kid with a cell phone can become a record company,
Right.
because they can write their songs, they can do their movies, they can do everything. So it's a different time. So, but there are certain things that remain that people must have in any time. And so when you ask me what today's time is, you know, everybody around the world, and China can come up with a song and it can go international. So you can't say, what would you do in today's time?
Could we have a Motown today? You know, can a Motown type of thing happen in this industry, or is it?
Well, yes, a Motown thing can always happen because it's built on love. It's built on love and truth. So if there's love and truth involved, and all you have to do is make it entertaining, it can happen anytime. So content is still the same. We still have to have hit content. It's just that there's so many more technology and this and that and so forth. So a lot of content that come out is not a hit, but it's a hit because it is heard so many times over media, or is this or is that. But still, content is the name of the game. When something comes along that has quality, truth, and entertainment to it, it's going to be big. So people have to realize whatever time you're in, there's no answers to what's happening. We're growing too fast. You know, I think kids are not focusing as much, and they need so many more things to keep them, you know, interested in this and that. And I see people that are out together and they're sitting next to each other and they're talking to each other on cell phones or something like that. So there's a million stories. But I break it down to simplicity. It's communication and love. And not thinking you are bigger than you are, because I have a great many accomplishments that are up there. And I tell people, don't grow above your accomplishments because you'll be miserable. You look down on them and you'll be miserable. I look up at mine because I'm on the ground. As long as you keep your feet on the ground, you're going to be happy. So I'm happy today as I was any time I've ever been, because I'm looking, oh, that's great, you know. And then, of course, I feel a little sad when somebody depicts me better than I can depict me, sing better than I can sing, act better than I can act. But it's truth. So he stays with the truth.
Speaking of truth and growing and all that, we are in Hitsville, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about this huge $50 million expansion that's going to happen right here where you used to sleep above a teeny tiny record. It's going to be a huge $50 million something soon. What?
That room right over there, it's not as big as my closet right now, but I used to live there.
Right?
You know?
And it's going to be a huge $50 million international, you know, huge thing and soon. What do you hope it'll turn into? What do you hope it'll,
whatever it should. I know under my grandniece, you know, Robin, that it's already turned into more than I would have ever expected. Just being here today, looking at all the history, looking at my parents and thinking about what they taught me, looking at the first artists. Many of them are no longer with us, and thinking of that bedroom, that house I used to live in, it's really now just a room and a bed and closet and stuff. But, you know, there's no way that I cannot be totally grateful, and it humbles me, and I'm so appreciative of all the fans that bought my records when everybody was saying, no, he couldn't have done this without being a crook, or he couldn't have, how could he grow so fast without being a crook?
$800 in a dream, right?
Yeah. So it's a fairy tale that happened to have come true, and the thing about it is, it doesn't matter how many good things happen to you. If you can't appreciate them, it doesn't matter. And so I'm always telling people, gratitude. Please have some gratitude to those, your mother and father, who helped you, who told you this, who told you that. It's not about you, it's about them. And so it's not about me so much. I'm looking up at the accomplishments, and here I'm looking up at this wonderful place, and I'm seeing these people and all these families.
Tell me this. What was your favorite Motown song? And is it in this play? Is he going to sing it?
Is it in this place?
In the Broadway play.
My favorite Motown song in the well, my favorite
Just
song.
of all time, your favorite Motown song.
Well, first of all, in the play, my favorite song is one he sings. It's not a Motown song. It's a song we just recently wrote for the play called Can I Close the Door? Blows my mind.
Okay.
And because I can't close the door on anybody you love, and that's what the play is about
And that's an original for the play.
That's original for the play. That's my favorite song in the play. However, my favorite Motown song is just like asking somebody, what's your favorite kid? You know, I mean, you know, if I said anything, Smokey Robinson would kick my behind, or Marvin Gaye, or this person or that person. I mean, when people ask me my favorite song when I'm on an interview, I look around and see who's with me. If it's Smokey, Smokey Robinson, I mean, something he wrote was incredible, you know. You know, if it's whoever's with me at the time, that's my favorite artist and my favorite song. If they're doing an interview with me.
Well, he's playing you. What's the favorite song that he does on the show?
The favorite song he does is "Can I Close the Door?"
Can I Close the Door? Right.
And he does it at the end, and it's a new song that we wrote for the play because people say, "Oh, you got plenty of songs. Just use your songs. You can never run out of songs." I said, "No. For the play, it has to be the truth of the play." And so we had to come up with. I and my co-writer Michael Smith came up with three original songs for the play.
Wonderful.
That tells the story of the play. It ties the play together so that it's not just a Motown review. You know, it's a story of Motown and its life, and Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder and, you know, the Supremes, the Four Tops. You know, it goes on and on. You know, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas and, you know.
Still making hits. Still making hits, Berry Gordy.
Yeah, so I'm thrilled. And so when we moved into every other area, surprisingly, it was the same as the Motown. When I went to Broadway, they said, no, you have to do it this way. This is Broadway. You have to, you know, I said, no, you have to get one thing straight. I'm not bringing Broadway to Motown. I'm not going to Broadwayize Motown. Right. I'm going to make Motown to Broadway. And of course, they didn't like it, and so I got a lot of bad reviews.
But guess what? You are home in Motown doing it now, and we love it.
And they loved it on Broadway too.
Absolutely.
You know, they loved it on Broadway.
Tony nominated and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here with us today on American Black Journal.
Well, I'm delighted to be here because I know all the great work you all do, and it's so fabulous for me to just be sharing some of my stories with you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good to meet you.
It's me.